Le Bourgeois Gentilhomme was first presented by Jean-Baptiste Poquelin, better known as Molière, and his troupe of actors to the King of France Louis XIV in 1670.
The satirical story of Monsieur Jourdain's aristocratic ambitions includes several scenes where Jourdain is being instructed by a host of teachers, and one of them, the philosophy master, makes the gnomic utterance that everything that is not prose is verse, and everything that is not verse is prose. How does this connect to our topic of balloons? Very simply, it's as easy for us to learn all the possible types of balloon as it was for Monsieur Jourdain to learn all the possible types of speech. There are just two. Either you fill the envelope with hydrogen, helium, or any other light of an air gas and call it chaliere, or you fill it with heated air and then it's Montgolfiere. Just remember, either verse or prose. We now know that the Montgolfiere brothers were not the first to fly a hot air balloon. There were already paper balloons used for military signalling in 3rd century China. Zhuge Liang, the Chancellor of Shuhan during the Three Kingdoms, one of the great strategists of his era, used paper hot air balloons for military signalling. They are known as Kongming lanterns and are still used in their thousands during Far Eastern festivals. Just be aware they are banned in several countries as fire hazards. In 1513, Leonardo da Vinci built paper balloons shaped like figures of saints and amused the public at the coronation of Pope Leo X. And there were others, including a Brazilian monk, Bartolomeu de Gusmão, who demonstrated a small hot air balloon to the Portuguese king John V and his court in 1709. Joseph Michel and Jacques-Étienne Montgolfiere started experimenting with paper and canvas balloons in 1782. The first officially recorded hot air balloon flight took place in June 1783 in Annonay, with further flights carrying animals as passengers. News of these events soon reached Paris, and the French Academy of Science decided to take a closer look at the source of this sensational gossip. The person charged by the Academy with the responsibility for making a detailed report was inventor, mathematician and scientist Jacques-Alexandre César Charles. He was supposed to travel to Annonay, but as he was himself a gas specialist and Annonay was far away in the south of France, meaning weeks of bumpy travel in a coach, Charles decided to remain in Paris and produce a report based on his own private deductions. He believed that the Montgolfiere brothers must have filled their balloon with hydrogen, and to prove that, he successfully demonstrated flight with small hydrogen-filled balloons. Charles started working with Anne-Jean Robert and Nicolas Louis Robert, the two brothers who had invented the method of making sheets of silk airtight by varnishing them with rubber dissolved in turpentine. The first hydrogen-filled balloon flew from Champ de Mars in Paris on August 27, 1783. It was relatively small at just 35 cubic meters. It flew with the wind for 45 minutes, outran its chasers who had followed on horseback, and landed 21 kilometers away in the village of Jeunesse, where terrified locals attacked it with pitchforks and knives. The Montgolfiere brothers came to show their achievements in the capital some weeks later, and Jacques Charles suddenly found himself the inventor of a second type of balloon, a chaliere. The two types seem to be as many as we shall ever have. Trying something different than a hydrogen-filled chaliere or a hot air-filled Montgolfiere initially brought disastrous results. Another famous balloon flying pioneer, and the second man to be lifted off the ground by a flying machine, after Etienne Montgolfiere, was the French aristocrat Jean-François Pilat de Rosier. He knew the limitations of the early balloons of both types, and built a combination of hydrogen and hot air-filled balloon, calling it a Rosier. He planned to use it for crossing the English Channel from France to England, but before he was ready, another Frenchman, Jean-Pierre Blanchard, flew from England to France in a chaliere in January 1785. It took de Rosier another 6 months before he and his companion, Pierre Romain, took off in their strange-looking craft. After flying some distance and getting to the altitude of about 400 meters, the balloon suddenly deflated and crashed, killing both men. It has been reported that, although the envelope did not catch fire, it was nevertheless very risky to use open flame and highly flammable hydrogen in one balloon. The whole idea seemed buried forever with its inventor, but, in fact, the Rosier concept was reconsidered after 200 years and used with great success in long-duration record flights such as attempts to fly around the world. Modern Rosiers use high-tech materials for the envelope and non-flammable helium as the lift gas in the upper part. Controlling the temperature in the lower part of the balloon enables the pilots to choose the precise height of flight and locate the optimum wind corridor, something that a pure chaliere can't do without losing gas by venting or dropping ballast. Jean-François Pilote de Rosier's idea just had to wait for the proper circumstances, but when it returned, it did so in style. On the 21st of March 1999, Bertrand Piccard and Brian Jones became the first people to fly around the world in a high-tech Rosier called Breitling Orbiter 3. It appears that the new millennium saw a rebirth of this third kind of balloon, just like there exists a third type of speech, blank or free verse. So, to conclude, we find that there are in fact more than two kinds of speech after all.